Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're very pleased to have in the studio with us today James Zanewicz. He is the relatively new CEO of Connect. How you doing, James?
I'm quite well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You've been with the organization for a whopping how long?
Either 3 or 4 months, if you want to count the month I had 2 jobs or not. So right in there.
We'll count that. And you came from where?
From Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, which we were just talking about.
Absolutely. I saw how I didn't know that 504 area code. That's bad on me on that business. What were you doing at Tulane?
So I was the chief strategy officer for the School of Medicine. So corporate investor partnerships, comms, marketing, crisis management, strategic initiatives, and whatever else the dean wanted me to do.
So a perfect fit to be CEO of Connect and so forth. Joining us is Ian Solomon. He's my co-host. Ian is a senior at San Diego State in majoring in leadership studies. And I know Ian has a question for you, James.
Fire away, Ian.
All right, let's start it off with, you could tell me and the listeners a little about the mission of Connect.
Absolutely. So at its core, Connect is about the entrepreneur's journey. We are all about helping entrepreneurs build, grow, and scale their companies, find access to capital, and that's through navigation of the robust ecosystem that is San Diego, which we're really fortunate to find ourselves in. It is about finding investment, finding programs that can be beneficial for them, and giving them mentorship.
You know, we were fortunate enough, or I was myself, when I ran community and public relations for the Union Tribune, is to work with Mary Walshock. And at the time, we sponsored Connect when it was under UCSD. And I see that's how you ran into Connect with Mary 25 years ago?
Mary's why I'm here, which is bizarre.
She's the best.
When I was brand new into tech transfer and knowledge transfer, if you're from outside the U.S., which is moving innovation out of universities, I was fortunate enough to go to a conference where Mary spoke. Was just, she walks in the room and she starts speaking and everyone got quiet. And that's, something that always happens around Mary because she just has so much knowledge and had always followed Connect. I was in places like Louisville, DC, New Orleans that were always years behind where San Diego had been, but had a lot we could learn from and apply to those regions. And so had always studied what Mary had done and the team under her, Bill Otterson, Dwayne Roth, all those folks, Mike Krenn, even when I was in New Orleans, but looking at Connect and what I had done, and I'm going to be honest, I was in my dream job at Tulane. It was my alma mater. It was my dream house, my dream city. And people kept sending me this job when it came up. And I was like, it literally says on the top line, you must have lived in San Diego for 10 to 20 years. And while I have a lot of friends here, I've been here a lot, I don't live there. And they kept harassing me and harassing me and harassing me. This will be the first time I've told this story in media, but I have a little group text with my dear friends, Mike Rondelli, who ran innovation at San Diego State for years, who I'm staying with while I'm here until I sell my house, Dr. Elaine Ham and Holly Wells Meadows. And they're harassing me. And finally, I was like, man, leave me alone. They're not going to hire me. And they have now screenshot that, circled it in red with an arrow and said, well, this aged well now that I'm here. But I dropped James Mackay a note and just said, this is what Mary meant to me. This is what Connect means to me. I would love to have a chat. And it led to this.
So how did they drop that requirement?
I guess I just convinced them that it wasn't necessary.
And it wasn't. It wasn't, because you've known Mary since, 25 years ago. I mean, you're about as much Connect as anybody.
Well, yeah, and it's weird. I almost worked with Paul Robin about 20 years ago. Paul and I had almost worked together at the SOC. I've known Tari Sopropto for years. We go back to being baby tech transfer people together. Mike Rondelli. Cody O'Hara over at UCSD as well in the engineering school. I have 15 to 20 of my closest friends of the last decade or two in San Diego. So it was just a logical move.
What did you do undergrad work?
Undergrad at Centre College in Danville, Kentucky, that you probably have never heard of.
Private?
Private school, 814 students when I went there, a third the size of my high school.
And why there?
I will say, honestly, my parents convinced me to go there. So my dad, first generation college student, went on a football scholarship, working 2 jobs to Lafayette College. Go Lafayette, boo Lehigh. I've been trained this by my dad. My mom went to nursing school back when it was basically you work at a hospital kind of as a practitioner. It wasn't a college degree then because she was the children or the child of dairy farmers in Wisconsin. And they wanted their kids to have access to those kinds of things. And my parents, God bless their souls, took out a second mortgage on their house and sent me there. I had a full ride to a state school. And they took a second mortgage out and said, we want you to go here instead. And that's why.
Interesting. And then from there, right to where?
So there I came out, majored in chemistry, was a chemist, and my job was to make paint and watch it dry for a project that failed. That makes chemistry not as interesting as you might imagine. So I left that. While I was doing that, one day I'd come out, I'd mowed the grass, I took the LSAT, knocked it out of the park, like the 99th percentile.
Wow.
That's not a reason to go to law school, as I found out. My grades did not match that. And nor did I love it as much, but had borrowed all the money to go to law school at Tulane and kind of finished up. Went and worked in TV and film in Los Angeles for the TV show Extra. For those of you who have watched that, A, it's an amazing show, and B, I apologize for those wasted moments of your life. But I did new media there. It was AOL, and then eventually brought up an internet site. So it was like in the nascent days of what I was called was new media, which these guys probably don't know it as new media. It's all media.
Right, exactly. Wow, that's a great story, which makes you a perfect fit for connecting 75 different reasons on this. So one of the things that listeners should know is that it's San Diego is a pretty good place for startups, entrepreneurism, which makes Connect absolutely an important integral part. Mm-hmm. As your colleagues that you were just chatting with, Mike Kren of Preface Ventures and so forth, and then of course we had our friends on from UCSD, Division of Extended Studies, and it sometimes works out that way, Ian, that everyone seems to be in the same mode. Yep. To be honest with you, in this area, talk about Connect and how it works with these startups.
Yeah, so startups are able to come to us in a myriad of ways. So one of the ways we can help is through our Springboard program, which traditionally had been a lot more structured. Now it's a lot about mentorship. We have access to some of the best mentors in the world in San Diego, and Connect has access to them uniquely through being Connect, an independent nonprofit that takes no equity, no cash from any of the startups we help, which is different than many of the assistances available to startups here. And Dr. Peter Stegman runs that program as well as some others and really pulls together a cadre of advisors around these individual startups. And they come in and say, here's the advice you need in this moment. It's first come, first serve. We pull together the right pieces for them. So that's kind of at any moment, people can access that. We also have what we just launched today is our Cool Companies every year, where we pick the 30 most innovative companies in San Diego. Applications open today, will be open for a month or so. And any company can come in and try and get in that program. And that's to help people get Series A funding and be really ready.
So what qualifies you as a cool company?
Cool company. So we have a great group of judges we pull from the community. So that we have experts in investors, entrepreneurs who have done it before, those kinds of things. But really, it's, are you at that stage to raise serious Series A round? And that's what it is. And primarily for San Diego, it's in biotech or tech, and it does have to be a San Diego company. A member of your C-suite has to have a San Diego County zip code address. Okay, so you got to be here. This is the first time you've done this? First time I've done this. So Connect has done it for years. Okay, right, yeah. Right. So how long have they been doing Cool Companies? So I believe it came out of the San Diego Venture Group when we merged. So we merged in 2019 with the San Diego Venture Group. So Connect has done it since then. Mike Kren, who just left, did it before then. I could not honestly tell you when it started with the San Diego Venture Group. Interesting. And, of course, when it was under UCSD Connect, Otterson, and so forth, when Mary was running the show on this, they had the most innovative, awards and all that. Are you still doing those? We're talking about bringing those back. Good. So that went away during COVID, and the team and I have been brainstorming on what April 28th should look like. Oh, and, it was so cool. It's in the conversation. Good. Well, I hope you bring it back. Now you're going to get me in trouble because they get mad when I go on podcast or out and say things that we're just talking about behind the scenes. Well, it's okay. It's just a thought. Kay, Gretel, and Trey are going to yell at me now. Yeah, no. I think that's fine. This is how I make things happen. I'm like, I said it.
Exactly. If you think about it,
we have to do it now. Yeah.
Right. It's out in the internet, and it's going to happen over there. Talking to James Zanewicz. He is the CEO of Connect. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for people in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's the arts, Alzheimer's, they do it all. Joined by my co-host, Ian Solomon. He is a senior at San Diego State in leadership studies. Brandon Joe, you're silent over here. Brandon Joe is our senior associate producer.
Just listening.
He's a senior at UC San Diego, computer science and math, correct?
Yep.
Exactly. Connect is up your alley. You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, a podcast in person is always going to be better than a podcast online. So I can just listen to it. It's totally fine with me.
Yeah. What questions do you have for
So one of the big things that I hear in San Diego is we have a community that's really good for early stage startups. We're really good at growing them, good at creating initial partnerships, good at getting initial funding. However, when it starts to grow, it kind of outsizes San Diego, and a lot of startups leave. What do you have to say about that?
We're working to get more investment in San Diego, both locally unlocking the existing capital we have here and also pulling in more capital from outside and letting them understand that companies can succeed and grow here, and that San Diego is, quite honestly, a great place to visit, so they shouldn't mind hopping on a plane. And so if we're able to unlock more West Coast capital, San Francisco, LA, Seattle, those folks don't mind the day trip. It's when you get into the East Coast capital, I think, is where we struggle with that a little more. But there's a lot of opportunity to do that here. And that can be through family offices. It can be through patient advocacy group investors. Like, there's a whole lot of different things we haven't done that our Chief Strategy Officer, Kate Kelly, and I are going to work to unlock. And towards the end of the year, you'll see us working on something we're brainstorming around the Connect Capital Collective, or C3, and how we can kind of pull together those different divisions of funding. So we do have a lot of the early stage, the angels, kind of this pre-seed seed, but how can we pull in family offices, more corporate investment, more foundations like Prebis or others like the Milken Institute, who amalgamate funding into one room at one time, where they could maybe track the life cycle of companies together and agree, we all like this one, and we're not going to orchestrate that, but they might come together and say, hey, we could agree to follow this together, to all share information, to share that brainstorming and keep companies here longer, if not permanently.
Gotcha. I'm curious why this hasn't been solved in the past, because I feel like this has been a known problem for a bit of time. And so why hasn't there been more later endgame funding for some of the startups that are kind of growing into like Series B, C, etc.?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's all about where is capital residing, and I do think we've grown a lot more capital here. When you think 40 years ago, we did not have the community we have now, because Connect started that, and Connect actually helped build companies like Qualcomm, others through their assistance, and created a lot of the wealth that we do now have in San Diego that wasn't here even 10, 20, 30 years ago, definitely, but it's been growing. And our ecosystem is now at that inflection point where I think we can activate that in a way that we haven't been able to before.
Gotcha.
Well, that's my hope and dream anyway. But also, because we didn't have Gretel, Trey, and Kate helping me run Connect. They're going to change the world.
No, absolutely. James, we come back from break. I want to talk a little about some of the university partnerships.
Absolutely.
With that, of course, and something that's near and dear to our heart at Cloudcast Media, and that's the military.
Yes.
We work very, very strongly with them. And we always save time in the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to support Connect? When we return with James Zanewicz, he is the CEO of Connect via Tulane University and my beloved New Orleans and so forth. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 years of doing great things in San Diego. So thrilled to have in the studio with us today, James Zanewicz. He is the CEO of Connect, joined by my co-host, Ian Solomon, a senior at San Diego State in Leadership Studies. Ian, you have a question for James?
Yeah, so talking a little bit about community outreach efforts. If you want to get into a little bit about university partnerships like UCSD,
Absolutely.
USD, San Diego State.
Yeah, San Diego State. So I've known people at all those universities for a long time. Tommy Martindale and Hala, the VPR at San Diego State. I was just at their Techstars last night. Love them. Hala and I, funny story about another reason I got this job, apparently. Hala and I met in her first year on the job. She was at an autumn conference. Tommy brought her to kind of show her a little bit more about tech transfer and innovation. And she and I had drinks for 2 hours one night. And apparently I made an impression because I didn't know she remembered me. And she sent them a 2-page email about why they should hire me for this job when she found out I was in the mix.
Yeah, Hala's great. She's been on the show here. And then she teed up Adela to come on the show.
Oh, nice.
And so Adela and then the chancellor of the Community College District, along with Mark Cafferty, all talked about the new $1.6 million innovation zone that they're doing now.
Yeah, and my God, and what they've done with Snapdragon's incredible. What they're building there. Hala wants Connect to have a presence there. Once it's built, we're absolutely going to do that. We visit UCSD quite often.
Right.
Paul Robin, Corey. You've got Al Pisano, who was amazing. Al was actually the mentor to two of my very good friends, Kimberly Foster, who was our dean of engineering at Tulane, and Helen Kim, who worked in the Pentagon for years as one of their top civilian advisors. And they both are proteges of his, which I did not know until I got here. It's weird how all things have kind of led me to this moment in time through my life.
It's a natural. I mean, you met Mary 25 years ago.
Yep.
I mean, you knew that you were going to come back home, so to speak, in this area. Brandon, do you have a question?
I guess I'm curious more on the ends of if sorry, I tend to move away the mic and get a little excited. So I guess if we're looking into the startup community going forward into the next couple of years, what are things that newer entrepreneurs, or at least people newer to San Diego, need to be aware of that are up and coming?
I think one of the interesting things is people have to be aware of the layering of tech across entrepreneurship and innovation as a whole. And that can be AI, it can be machine learning, but you don't have to be an AI or ML company. Understand that it is going to have an impact on your industry in many ways. This will be the first time we announce this as well, but the board of the Alliance for AI in Healthcare has voted. They are going to kind of dissolve as a separate organization. And we're working on an MOU right now, and they're going to come in under Connect as a program. So we are going to have the epicenter of AI in healthcare for the world run out of Connect. We're going to try and rebuild that into a global organization again with Connect as the hub. So it'll give opportunity to all of our entrepreneurs. And that's primarily focused on as it goes to healthcare, but we can learn from that for every industry, for defense, for climate, for deep tech, and how can we use AI, tech, ML in a way to drive things forward. And I think it's one of the things that if we embrace first as a region, and we're uniquely positioned to embrace because we do have strength in multiple verticals that most regions don't have. We're also a super region. We're the only place where you have a nearshore, where you can drive across the border and actually have a multinational company without having to hop on a plane and cross an ocean. And that's fairly incredible. Like, it's so amazing what San Diego has that nowhere else has.
Yeah, well, it is the richest border in the world. And sometimes we scratch our heads on how we should deal with it. And of course, I was fortunate enough to work with Chuck Nathanson in San Diego Dialogue. It also fell under Mary Walshock's purview back in the day on this. And so good for you in this aspect of it. Ian, got another question for James.
Yeah, so kind of stay on the same topic of the community outreach. I want to hear a little bit more about how you guys are supporting military or defense innovation.
Absolutely. It's perfect timing. So our job for that closes today. And I saw we have almost 60 applicants in less than 2 weeks. So we're hiring a director of life science right now to support life sciences and the director of tech and defense. And that person will service both the tech and the defense communities to start. As we raise more funds, so anyone who wants to donate to Connect, we are a 501c3. You're welcome to do so. We're going to split that job into two and have a director of tech and a director of defense. These folks were, before we had somebody who ran Springboard, somebody who ran Cool Companies, ran programs, we've kind of done away with that. We have Dr. Petra Stegman, who is now our head of entrepreneurial programs. She's mapping out what those look like and how they can kind of weave in and out of the entire ecosystem, and will help train these directors how to do that. But these directors will be responsible for knowing everyone in academia, everyone in industry, everyone in venture, and everyone in the military. And that could go for health as well as the military, as well as tech, because that all weaves into dual use in what they're doing. But knowing all the pieces to put them together, then coming together as a team to run those programs, which I think is going to work in a way that provides us a lot more long-term stability and a lot more benefit to the companies and investors we serve.
Yeah, we're very, very close with the military. We just relaunched our military show, Mission San Diego Military, with SDMAC, and I co-host it with the president and CEO of SDMAC, retired David Boone. We all know what they contribute to the economy. The recent release of the Military Economic Impact Report, billions and billions of dollars, and they double actually what tourism and entertainment bring in, and we all know that. And certainly, there's so many different things that come out of that.
And the small business grants they provide, like the SBIR, unless you're in the Navy, and then it's SBIR, but what they provide there for companies is incredible.
100%, Brandon.
I'm curious, mostly on the ends of. Hold up, I'm blanking on the question. It just flew away from me. You'll have to come back to me in a second.
Once it'll fly back.
It'll come back the moment you're not ready. Yeah,
of course. It'll be at 3 a.m, and then you can pretend you're on the podcast on this. One of the great things that Connect has always done and continues to do, and of course what Prebis is doing, and we just talked to your buddy Mike Kren, of course, and Gil Alvarado. You guys have absolutely set the bar for impact changing in the companies. And how many times you go and say, without Connect, we would never gotten off the ground. And because you gave us the impetus to do X, Y, and Z, whether it was the most innovative product awards or what you're thinking about bringing back and all that business. If you need someone to champion with you, I'll be there shoulder to shoulder with you. Talk about those stories that there's hundreds of them.
I mean, it's amazing. So I've kind of done my first 4 months here. I've been more a listening tour to help inform our direction forward, because the board asked me what my vision and direction would be. I'm like, it needs to be the community's vision and direction and the teams. And I've spent 4 months, getting to know the Connect team, helping to put it together, asking for their ideas as well, getting to know the community. And one of the things I've heard the most, and so this is one of my asks for the community is, Connect doesn't really have a great central physical space for the entire team. So many companies I've talked to, so many investors said, oh, this deal happened because I was just hanging out at your office working, having a cup of coffee, and I'm at X or Y or Z, and this deal happened. And that's why 2 companies ago, my company was successful. And we don't have that space right now. And it's something I think COVID took away from us in a way.
Right.
And so we are looking, the great folks at Savills are helping us right now. We've had some offers from JLL and others, but we're looking for someone who wants to house a nonprofit in exchange for the tax write-off they get for doing that, give us some central space, and give us the ability to bring the community into that building and to kind of create that as an innovation hub. In addition to that central space we want to have for folks, we're willing to house up anywhere. We'll house up in Carlsbad. I work from San Diego State once in a while. I met Hala the first week with her team. She's like, I'm putting you on staff. So I've now been faculty in law, medicine, and business, which is weird. I guess I'm collecting them all. But I'm faculty in business at SCSU. I'm able to go work from there whenever I want. Paul Robin has given us space over at UCSD. But anywhere that is open to having Connect work from your space, we have a calendar on our website now. We're going to be posting up in 2026 who is working from where, what day, where you can just drop by. And we're looking to do those kinds of things more.
Yeah. So how do they get a hold of you?
Anybody can get a hold of me easily. I'm James@connect.org.
There you go. That's
super simple.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple one. Brandon, does it come back in your head?
Yeah,
yet?
it came back to me.
All right.
I'm curious because we're talking about the connectors in the community, the lifeblood of what San Diego and a lot of other communities are. Who would you say are the biggest connectors we have in San Diego, and how can someone get plugged in there?
Well, before we hop to now, I want to hop to the past because at break we were talking a bit, and I think a lot of this goes back to Dwayne Roth and what he did for this community. And I'll tell you, I never got to meet Dwayne. I got to hear about Dwayne a lot, see a lot of what he did. I hear about a lot. Now my roommate Mike Rondelli, who I'm staying with while I sell my house and moving here, tells me constantly how Dwayne's funeral was the biggest networking event San Diego has ever seen. And I think Dwayne created that culture of connectivity, inclusivity, of working together and not competing. And so he, of course, is where a lot of this goes back to. I think if you look at honestly the entire team at Connect, this is our mantra. It's what we do. Anyone on the team can do this. If you look at the Prebys Foundation, if you look at Biocom, if you look at Evo Nexus, you look at UCSD, at San Diego State, at Mira Mesa, at Point Loma, all these places, anywhere in the community is a connection point in. And one of the things we haven't talked about yet is the SBDC network, which is really incredible. And Connect is proud to be a part of that. There are 3 specialty SBDCs in San Diego, which is rare. I think there are only 79 in the entire US, and we have 3 here. And SBDCs usually help more of kind of what people consider the mom and pop shops, the people who come up and are doing a bakery or a service or something like that. We have 3 that are helping high-tech companies. You have at USD, which we haven't talked about yet, the Brink, which does a lot of the earlier stage stuff, or what, quite honestly, Springboard used to be that we don't do anymore because they've filled that gap. And we have kind of moved around that to help in later stages. You have the World Trade Center over at the EDC that helps people with kind of those international connections for their companies. And then you have Connect, which is that connector of everything innovation for all the verticals around San Diego. And that's really special that we have that here.
Well, and you got an organization such as the BCCA, the Burnham Center for Community Advancement, of course, with Ted and Malin, Mr. San Diego.
Our office is right with them. I love those people. They're amazing.
They're unbelievable for 75, different reasons, on this. So James, obviously, let's find some space for James and his important crew and all that business. Listen, no one's going to turn down donations and so forth.
Never.
It turns lights on. It lets you do even more great things in the community. I encourage people just to contact James as well. Other things that we can do to support your efforts.
No, I think anyone who wants to help mentor companies, reach out. We'll get you involved in Springboard. If you want to be a board member, reach out. We'll get you connected with Kate Kelly and Liz Dargy on our team. If you have a passion, a vision, a mission, or if you're an investor and you want to see the best companies in San Diego, reach out to us. We are that gateway to help you do that. And that may mean we refer you to some of our partner organizations as well. That's what we're here to do.
So I'm going to make a request of you, and hopefully you're going to be fine with it. Would love to have you come on a minimum of once a quarter.
Absolutely.
You can come on every single day and still not hit one night to get to what you're doing. I understand that. But would love for you to just continue the conversation, and the next time you're in, bring in a couple more guests, okay? Maybe businesses that have benefited from you or a new sector you're working on.
Love that.
Definitely want to bring Hala back on. She was
put me and Hala on together. You'll be entertained.
No, I'm already entertained with Hala. I'm going to tell you a story offline about Hala, who's just a delight and so forth. And some of her team have been on another show that Cloudcast and I worked on called Mission San Diego Military. That came out of Hala's area that focused on, again, the mission in the military. So if you can make that commitment commitment, we'd be happy to chat with you.
100%, and happy to come on with any of our Startup San Diego, whoever, have us together. Let's show people the collaboration instead of just talking about it.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Love it.
James Zanewicz, thank you so much. Welcome to San Diego again, even though you're pretty much a San Diego guy just because of your connections anyway. Wishing you nothing but great success. Looking forward to having you back on. Ian Solomon, another fine job as co-host. Hope you enjoyed it.
I feel like I'm learning so much just by hearing you speak.
Oh, you're in trouble.
It's all good. And Brandon, as always, thank you for jumping on. Brandon, Joe, our senior associate director and producer at our Cloudcast Media, not just for the Spotlight Show, a plethora of others, senior math and computer science and entrepreneur himself. Always appreciate you coming on, Brandon. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.